Let's be real. When it comes to lyrical battles, few can go toe-to-toe with Eminem. The man doesn't just drop bars, he drops bombs. When he sets his sights on someone, it's not just a diss, it's demolition. So, let's kick things off with one of his most talked about feuds, Eminem versus Machine Gun Kelly. Back in 2018, Eminem wasn't exactly at his peak. Fans were questioning his newer sound, and it felt like the rap god had gone quiet. But behind the scenes, M was cooking up something in secret, an album that would change the conversation completely. That album? Kamikaze. And true to its name, Kamikaze came with explosions, lyrical ones. Eminem didn't just drop songs, he dropped names. One of the people caught in the crossfire was Machine Gun Kelly, a rapper who once called Eminem his inspiration. Yeah, MGK grew up idolizing him, but somewhere along the way, things took a wild turn. MGK made a tweet about Eminem's daughter, a move that instantly turned admiration into all-out war. And if there's one rule in hip-hop everyone knows, it's this. You don't bring up family when talking about Eminem. Eminem didn't respond right away. He waited for 6 years. Then, out of nowhere, he struck back with lyrics that called out MGK's confidence, talent, and even his image. But MGK didn't back down. He fired back with a track called Rap Devil, a clever play on Eminem's song Rap God. The track went viral, and many fans actually gave MGK credit for standing up to one of the greatest rappers alive. The video had high energy, solid visuals, but lyrically, let's just say it didn't quite land every punch. One of the most talked about lines was when MGK said, "The beard is weird." At first, it sounded silly, but fans later realized it was a jab at how Eminem used to hate having a beard, until he suddenly grew one. Still, when it came to bars and impact, Eminem wasn't about to be outdone. Just days later, he dropped his response, Killshot. And it was exactly what the name suggests, precise, cold, and devastating. Eminem's flow was razor sharp, his delivery pure venom. He broke down every point MGK tried to make in Rap Devil, flipping each one back at him with brutal precision. And here's the kicker, Killshot didn't even have a music video, just lyrics on screen. But, somehow, it still racked up way more views and plays than MGK's track. After that, the battle was over. MGK himself admitted he had a comeback ready, but he never released it, because deep down, he knew. When Eminem fires back, it's game over, and just like that, M reminded the world exactly why he's still the undisputed heavyweight when it comes to lyrical warfare. Number 6. The Warning. Eminem versus Mariah Carey. Now this next one isn't even about another rapper. It's about one of the biggest pop divas in the world, Mariah Carey. Yeah, you heard that right. Eminem's lyrical fire didn't just stay inside the rap world. Sometimes even singers from other genres found themselves in his crosshairs, and Mariah just happened to be one of them. Here's what went down. Years ago, rumors started swirling that Eminem and Mariah had something going on. Neither side really confirmed it at first, but let's just say, things got complicated. When the supposed relationship fell apart, Mariah dropped a song called Obsessed. And if you've heard it, you know, it wasn't exactly subtle.
And I was like, why are you so obsessed with me?
Why you so obsessed with me? Boy, I wanna know.
The song threw plenty of shade at Eminem, mocking him in both the lyrics and the music video. At first, Eminem didn't respond. He stayed quiet. But if you know M, silence doesn't mean surrender. It means he's loading up. and when he finally responded, he didn't hold back. His track, The Warning, was exactly what the title said. A warning shot, but wrapped in fire. He called out the situation, hinted at private moments between them without crossing any lines directly, and made it crystal clear that if Mariah didn't stop bringing him up, he had more receipts ready to drop. The message? Loud and clear. Let's not make this messier than it already is. And to her credit, Mariah backed off after that. The feud pretty much ended there, because when Eminem drops a warning, you listen. Before we continue, support the channel by subscribing. It's the easiest way to make sure more hip-hop fans like you get to relive these legendary moments. Number 5. Hail Mary. Eminem vs. Ja Rule. If there's one thing about Eminem, it's that he's fiercely loyal to the people he calls friends, and this next beef proves it. So, here's the story. Back in the early 2000s, Ja Rule was on top of the charts. He was everywhere. Hit songs, music videos, award shows. But then came a major clash that changed everything. Ja Rule versus 50 Cent. Now, if you know the rap game, you already know that when 50 Cent goes to war, he doesn't go alone. And guess who stepped up beside him? Yup, Eminem. See, Eminem was one of the people who helped bring 50 Cent into the spotlight. So when Ja Rule started throwing shots at 50, Em took that personally. What followed was one of the most brutal tag team takedowns in rap history. Eminem, 50 Cent, and even Busta Rhymes teamed up to clap back hard. They didn't just diss Ja Rule, they dismantled his entire image piece by piece. Eminem's biggest hit from this feud was Hail Mary, a track where he flipped the title of Tupac's classic song but turned it into an all-out lyrical storm. He painted Ja Rule as an imitator, someone who copied others but couldn't stand on his own. And, to make it sting even more, Em dropped coded lines hinting that Ja's lifestyle wasn't as real as he claimed. It wasn't just a diss, it was a career blow. Magazines at the time even called it one of the hardest diss tracks ever made. And here's the kicker. Eminem didn't even have a personal problem with Ja Rule before this, he just didn't like seeing someone come after his people. That's loyalty. Slim, Shady style. When the smoke cleared, Ja Rule's career was never quite the same. And once again, Eminem showed that when he jumps into a feud, he doesn't just defend, he dominates. Number 4. Marshall Mathers, Eminem vs. ICP and Vanilla Ice. If you thought Eminem only started dissing people after becoming famous, think again. He was swinging at people way before he hit superstar status. Back in the early 2000s, when Eminem dropped his album The Marshall Mathers LP, he didn't just put out music, he put the entire industry on notice. No one was safe. Pop stars, rappers, boy bands, if you were in the spotlight, you might have caught a stray. And two people who definitely did were Vanilla Ice and the rap group Insane Clown Posse, ICP. Let's start with Vanilla Ice. Remember him? The Ice Ice Baby guy with the slick hair and flashy style. Eminem took one look at him and thought, nah, that's not it. He felt like Vanilla Ice was pretending to be something he wasn't, trying to act like a real MC while chasing fame instead of respect. So, in true Eminem fashion, he called him out publicly, mocking his style and his attitude. Then came ICP, a rap duo who claimed they were representing Detroit's underground scene. But that didn't sit right with Eminem, who actually came up in Detroit's underground battles. He saw them bragging about a culture they didn't really live, and that was enough to light a fire. So, when M dropped his track Marshall Mathers, he came swinging at both of them. The lyrics were cutting, funny, and savage. The kind of stuff that only Eminem could pull off without breaking a sweat. He basically told the world, "I'm Detroit, not them." And honestly, it worked. His lines hit so hard that both Vanilla Ice and ICP became punchlines in rap conversations for years afterward. This was the era when Slim Shady was raw, fearless, and ready to prove he was untouchable. It wasn't just a diss track, it was a declaration of dominance. Number 3. Cleaning Out My Closet. Eminem versus his mom. This next one hits a lot deeper than the usual rap beef. It's not about rival rappers, pop stars, or fake friends. It's about family, and the pain that comes with it. See, before Eminem was a superstar, he was just Marshall Mathers, a kid growing up in tough conditions. His dad had walked out when he was little, leaving him and his mom to figure things out on their own. Money was tight. They moved around constantly, and life was anything but stable. But the hardest part wasn't just the poverty. It was the relationship. Eminem and his mom, Debbie Mathers, never had that loving mother-son bond people expect. There were years of tension, resentment, and arguments that kept building up inside him. And when Eminem finally got a voice big enough for the world to hear, he let it all out. In the song, Cleaning Out My Closet. This wasn't a diss track in the traditional sense. It was therapy. Raw, painful, and brutally honest. Eminem poured out every emotion he'd been holding back for years, calling out how he felt mistreated, misunderstood, and even betrayed. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He spoke straight from the heart, and it shocked the world. The song blew up, but it also tore open old wounds. His mom was so upset she actually tried to take him to court over it, claiming it ruined her reputation. But to Eminem, that reaction just proved his point, that she cared more about image than the pain he'd carried for years. Over time, the two would attempt to make peace, but anyone who's heard this song knows. Some scars never fully heal. Cleaning Out My Closet wasn't just a track, it was a confession. And it reminded everyone that behind all the fame and success, Eminem was still that kid from Detroit trying to make sense of a messy past. Number 2. Kamikaze. Eminem versus everyone. By the time we got to this era, Eminem had already cemented himself as one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a mic. But even legends have rough patches, and for a while, it felt like the world had turned on him. After years of dominating hip-hop, Eminem's sound started to change. He'd been through a lot: personal struggles, public criticism, and even a near-death moment from overusing the wrong things. That experience made him more reflective, more cautious. He started dropping songs that were softer, more emotional, even inspirational. But here's the problem. Fans didn't want the new Eminem. They wanted Slim Shady, the unfiltered, ruthless version who took no prisoners. When his 2017 album Revival dropped, it got mixed reviews. And some fans didn't hold back. They wanted fire. They wanted attitude. So Eminem gave them exactly that. In 2018, out of nowhere, he dropped Kamikaze. No promos, no warnings, just pure lyrical chaos. And this wasn't just another album, it was a counterattack. Instead of focusing on one enemy, Eminem came for everyone who ever doubted him. Rappers, critics, YouTubers, bloggers, nobody was safe. He called people out by name, line after line, with the kind of energy that reminded everyone why he's called the rap god. Tracks like The Ringer and Fall were full of razor-sharp punchlines and clever wordplay. He took aim at the so-called mumble rappers dominating the charts, saying they were watering down the art form he'd spent his life perfecting. He mocked their lazy lyrics, repetitive flows, and overuse of auto-tune, all while proving he could out-rap them in his sleep. But here's what made Kamikaze special. It wasn't just anger, it was intention. This was Eminem reclaiming his crown. It was him saying, "You wanted the old me? Fine, here he is, the result, a full-blown revival of his reputation." Fans who once doubted him were suddenly saying, "He's back." Kamikaze wasn't a diss track, it was a diss album, a message to the entire industry that the king wasn't gone. He was just recharging. Number 1. Girls. Eminem vs. Limp Bizkit. Now this last one takes us way back, to the early 2000s, when the rap and rock scenes were crossing over and MTV ruled the world. One of the biggest groups at the time, Limp Bizkit. They were everywhere. Huge tours, hit songs, wild music videos, and believe it or not, Eminem and Limp Bizkit actually started out as friends. They hung out, collaborated, and even talked about working together on future projects. But like many stories in the music industry, things got messy. Here's how it all fell apart. At some point, the band decided to take sides in another feud Eminem was having, and they didn't pick him. They publicly supported one of his rivals, and that was the spark that set everything off. Eminem felt betrayed. After all, in his world, loyalty means everything. So instead of staying quiet, he did what he always does best. He put it in a song. The result was Girls. Now, don't let the title fool you. There was nothing sweet about this track. It was a lyrical ambush. Bar after bar aimed straight at Limp Bizkit, and especially their DJ, DJ Lethal. Eminem didn't just diss them. He dismantled their reputation. He mocked their sound, called out their fake friendships, and basically told the world that Limp Bizkit was all talk and no substance. Every line was sharp, personal, and dripping with that trademark Shady sarcasm. And just like that, the friendship was over. Limp Bizkit never fired back. Not really, at least. Because how do you recover when Eminem puts you on blast like that? That track, Girls, wasn't just another diss song, it was a warning to everyone else in the industry. If you turn your back on Eminem, he'll make sure the world hears about it. Once again, Slim Shady proved he doesn't just win beefs, he ends them.